What's up, YouTube? Crownless D King here, bringing you One Piece, chapter 1156 review. This was a solid chapter. I'm glad Oda is sticking with this Loki flashback. We're getting some good backstory and lore, that's for sure. Had to break out the Hawaiian shirt. That cover spread, one of the best ones I've seen. Seeing the wings of the Pirate Kings, Sanji, Zoro, Scopper, Rayleigh, and then Luffy and Roger. It was pretty hype. It's a beautiful color spread, and Sanji's Hawaiian shirt made me have to turn up a little bit. But getting into the chapter, it starts off with the Kuja pirates, which is pretty interesting. I never thought I would have saw them in a Loki flashback, but it's nice seeing what's going on in this pirating era. The Kuja pirates seem to be an instrumental part of this era. So they pull up to this unnamed island and raid them for all their resources, food, treasure. And none of the men on the island, Marines or civilians, actually stand up and protect them because they're so enamored by their beauty. So it's an easy lick for the Kuja pirates, in and out like the restaurant. So as they're departing, we see the Roger pirates intercept them. And Roger gets on the Den Mushi loudspeaker and he's like, hey, hand over Shakiyaku now. And the Kuja pirates aren't having any of it. Gloriosa is actually the current captain of the Kuja pirates. And you can tell that she has a little bit of animosity towards Shaki since Gloriosa is in love with Roger. And all Roger wants to do is simp over Shaki. So Gloriosa feels some type of way. But Shaki comes out and tells Roger, I belong to no one. And she attacks Scopper Gaban and one-shots, which is pretty crazy to say. Now, I'm not going to say it was a legitimate one-shot because obviously Scopper wasn't really, trying to go at her. He was just so enamored by her beauty, doing his Sanji thing. And then Shaki goes after Roger and does what she does to him, knocking him on the ground. And it's so funny seeing Roger in his pose with weak knees shaking around Shaki. Like, I never thought I would have seen Gold D. Roger, the Pirate King, in that type of manner. But it just goes to show you the power of a pretty woman. One thing I didn't notice, though, in my chapter reaction was that the giant egg that the Roger pirates have had on the Oro Jackson is currently there. I believe this is one of the youngest forms of Roger we've seen in the manga so far. So that egg has obviously been with them since almost the start of their journey, pretty much. It makes me wonder where they get it from, what it's eventually gonna hatch into. So I really hope Oda pays us off and, shows us what this mysterious egg's gonna be about. But continuing on into the chapter, after Shaki one-shots both Scopper and Roger, they're about to depart, and Monkey D. Garp pulls up. A young Garp, prime Garp pulls up. And as Roger's telling his crew to depart, his crew tells him that it's Garp, the one who's actually chasing them down. He says, belay that order, turn around, let's fight. And Roger and Garp actually get into a conqueror's hockey clash, that's pretty sick. I can't wait to see how Toei actually handles this in the anime. I really hope they expand on it and, we get to see a little bit of a fight here, a little bit of a scuffle go down. Roger actually names a new attack called Rampaging Spirit. And the only named attack we've seen from Roger so far is his Kamusari, Divine Departure. So I really want to see Toei put a little bit of extra hype in this and have them really go at it. Because these two in their primes, I can't even imagine. Especially after Roger's showing against Shaki. He needs to redeem himself. Like, you can't be simping, bro. But the narrator goes on to say that the Kuja pirates are an indispensable part of this pirating era. And it makes me wonder, like, what do they mean by that? Because we do know that they're great pirates, but we really haven't heard anything substantial being caused by the Kuja pirates. So it really makes me wonder if, something huge is going to happen due to them, especially since Gloriosa joins the Rocks pirates, and we know Rocks goes after specific powerful pirates. I wonder if Rox knows something that we don't about the Kuja pirates. And in the future, Blackbeard goes after Boa Hancock and her devil fruit. Now, I know he would wanted the devil fruit specifically, but I wonder if there was something else that maybe he knew, that we don't as the readers. So it'll be interesting to find out. So moving on into the chapter, we go back to Elbaf, which is pretty funny because most of this flashback hasn't even really been about Loki. It's been more about Rox and what he's been up to, which I am A-okay with, as I want as much Rox as possible. But back in Elbaf, it seems like Loki got on one of the Elbathian ships to set sail out to sea to become more like his actual daddy Rox. And during his voyage, it seems like the ship capsizes, and some of the crewmates on this ship are thinking about just letting Loki drown just because of how much of a troublemaker he is, which is kind of sad to hear because, we as the readers, we know Loki's backstory. He's just going through it. His mother has died. His father's not really around. The whole country thinks he's a curse and a plague. So, imagine being in his position. You would definitely feel some type of way. So this captain's going on telling Ida and Harold, yeah, I almost let him drown just because of the menace he's been. And Harold goes on to thank this captain, which baffles my mind. Imagine sitting there listening to someone tell you, I almost let your son drown, and be like, oh, thank you. I appreciate you saving him. Ida had the right response. She's like, what do you mean you almost let him drown? If you would have let him drown, I would have drowned you 100 times over. And Ida is slowly becoming one of my favorite characters in Elbaf for sure. Just how kind she is and how forward-thinking she is. Elbaf would not be in the position and the place it is if it wasn't for Ida. Imagine if Ida and Harold never met. He would still be running around just abusing regular-sized people just because he's bigger. So, Ida is an instrumental part of why Elbaf has become the diplomatic powerhouse that it has been over these few years. So Ida goes on to offer Loki, hey, why don't you come stay with me in Howardin? But of course, Loki being a brat is like, hell no, what are you talking about? The only reason you want to play my mom is so you can live in the castle and get all the money. I refuse. And Harold actually sticks up for Ida, saying, hey, no, apologize to her. Ida's been through a lot. There's no reason for you to talk to her like that. And of course, Howardin is always on go. So he pulls out his sword and he's like, hey, don't talk to my mom like that. And we see that Mato is there with them currently since they are at Ida's bar. And it really makes me wonder what's happened to Ida in the current timeline of One Piece. Like, I really hope she's not unalived. Just for the simple fact that Ida is such a great character. Like, you can really tell that she cares about Elbaf and the perception of giants on a whole. So I really hope we get to see more of Ida in the future. Loki goes on to be a brat and tells everybody, I'm tired of being around you weaklings. I want to be free like Rox. I'm going to leave Elbaf. And, since this is a Loki flashback, I'm hoping Oda does show us, Loki and his travels around the Grand Line and what kind of trouble he gets into during his pirating career. Like, I really hope we get to see the interaction between Loki and Shanks taking Loki back to Elbaf. Like, I can't even imagine how epic that fight is going to be. So it'd be really cool for Oda to, expand upon that a bit more. Moving on in the chapter, we go back to Hachinosu, the pirate island, and we see a cloaked figure asking some of the pirates, where's Rox at? I want to join the Rox pirates. And they kind of scoff at him. And then one of the pirates goes ahead and attacks him. And he turns like massive. And he palms this pirate's head like it's a basketball. It's revealed that this pirate is Kyo, the Silver Axe. And one of the pirates goes on to say, oh, this is Shiki's rival. So if he's Shiki's rival, he must be powerful. Yeah, so seeing this guy, it makes me wonder if he's the former user of Aruja's devil fruit. I'm just gonna call it the Karma fruit since it doesn't have an actual name for now. But seeing him get attacked and just turn massive, that's exactly how Aruja's fruit works. So It'll be interesting to see if Oda actually expands upon that and lets us know what it is. So we go on to see that there's a massive explosion in the Hachinosu rock formation. And it's actually rocks who gives Hachinosu that classic skull looking formation by making the two holes inside the rock, which is actually pretty insane because that rock formation is massive. So it just continues to show the power of Rocks D. Zebek. So the Rocks Pirates are currently on top of the rock formation, and they're discussing Rocks' plan to take down the Holy Land. And he says, to sum it up, there are two devil fruits that I want. One of them is most likely found in Elbaf, and its power will only be unlocked if Herald eats it. Now, I'm wondering what devil fruit could that be? Could it be the Nika Nika fruit? I mean, imagine like a giant having the power of the Gum Gum fruit. I mean, it'd be insane. Herald is already powerful. We see that he has Conqueror's coding, so him with the Nika fruit would be incredible. But it also could be something else. We don't really know what it is. We're speculating. So hopefully Oda tells us what these two fruits are. But I'm betting that at least one of them is the Yami Yami no Mi. For the simple fact that, one, if Rocks wants Herald to eat this fruit, if he's the captain and Herald is as strong as he is and he eats this fruit that makes him more powerful, what better fruit for Rocks to take himself than the Yami Yami no Mi? So if Herald gets out of hand, he can go ahead and take the power away from Herald. Another piece of evidence pointing towards the second devil fruit being the Yami Yami no Mi is that Blackbeard spent a majority of his pirating career trying to attain it. And as soon as he got the opportunity to unalive Thatch and take it from him, he did. So my bet is at least one of the devil fruits is the Yami Yami no Mi. It also makes me think that these two fruits are needed to take down Emu, because when Rocks went into the flower room, it's like he knew that he couldn't defeat Emu at present time. So having the Yami Yami no Mi to be able to take away whatever devil fruit power that Emu has, as well as the Nika Nika / Gum Gum fruit, to provide some of the most ridiculous powers in the One Piece verse, I could see those two fruits being needed to actually take down Emu. But we'll see in the future. Could there be a Luffy and Blackbeard team up to take down Emu before getting to the One Piece? We'll see. So we meet a few more members of the Rocks Pirates, starting off with Pirate Captain John, and he's continuing telling the plan that after finding these two devil fruits, they need to find the Galley-La giant shipwrights. It makes me wonder, what exactly is Rocks' plan? Because we know that, of course, the Galley-La shipwrights, they build ships. Like, did they build the ancient weapons? Did they build the Noah? What exactly is his plan? Like, does he want them to build a new ancient weapon so he can go ahead and attack the Holy Land in Mary Joas? I mean, that'd be pretty cool, because since Mary Joas is on top of the Red Line, it's very difficult to get there unless you have a flying ship, something like the Arc Maxim, where you can just literally scale it by flying and then have a sneak attack. So that'd be pretty sick to see in the future. The next newest member of the Rocks Pirates we meet is Charlotte Lin Lin, aka Big Mom. And I believe she's about 20 years old at this time. It seems like she already has a vast pirating information network that she's using to help Rocks find the Galley-La troop. And we knew Struzan has been with Big Mom ever since she was a little girl, and he witnessed her eat Mother Caramel and the other orphans on Elbaf. Struzan is pretty much one of Big Mom's day ones, so it makes sense that he was there with Rocks and the rest of the Rocks Pirates. Moving on, we meet Fishman Catfish, Pirate Barbell, and he goes on to tell Rocks, even if you do find Galley-La, there's no reason they would listen to you. And that's why Rocks goes on to tell them, we need King Herald on our side. I'm assuming it's just so once he does get a hold of the Galley-La giant, he'll have King Herald to be able to control them and let them know, hey, do this, do that, I'm the king, lend me your power. And then the last newest member of the Rock's crew we meet is Kaido, a young Kaido. And I believe he's 15 at this point in time. And Kaido being Kaido, he's all about strength, tells Rocks, why don't we just subjugate Elbaf? Like, we're strong enough to just make Harold do what we want him to do. And Rocks actually kicks Kaido in his face and says, yo, stop talking like that. Like, Harold's my pal. I'm not just gonna force him to do what I want. He actually means something to me. This is starting to make me feel like Rocks is closer to Luffy in personality than Gold D. Roger. Not necessarily in the ruthlessness aspect, but it seems like Rocks does value his crew. You know, he didn't get them in the conventional way, like, hey, join me, be my Nakama, but instead using the Davy back fights. But even through that, it seems like that he really values them and the strengths that they bring to his crew. So I'm starting to see more and more parallels between Rocks and Luffy, the more of Rocks' personality that's shown. His charisma, his strength, the way he values his crew. I mean, it's, for me, I don't know, maybe I'm just coping, but I definitely see some similarities between them. So after Rocks kicks Kaido in the face, he goes on to and continues to tell his crew, listen up. Elbaf is the key to taking down Holy Land. If you aren't up for it, get out of my crew now. But if you stick with me, I'll show you the peak of the world. And I love seeing this panel because it legitimately shows how diverse Rocks' crew is. I mean, we have women on his crew, fishmen. It doesn't seem like there's any type of being that Rocks won't allow on his crew. As long as you bring some type of strength to the crew, he's willing to have anyone aboard his ship. So that's pretty awesome to see. Oda is in his bag. Like, these last few chapters have been all gas, no brakes. And I'm really hoping it continues. Like, I know this is supposed to be a Loki flashback, but all I want to see is Rocks. Because him and his crew are slowly creeping up to be some of my favorite characters. So just because I personally like power scaling, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little rank of the Rocks pirates from strongest to weakest. Starting off with the captain, Rocks D. Zebek. I mean, there should be no question here. He was the one who built the crew through Davy back fights. So he's definitely on top. Number 2 being Edward Newgate. I feel like he's the Zoro of the crew. You can see how he's one of the more level-headed people on the crew and tries to keep them together as much as he can. Unlike number 3, Shiki, who's just all about the smoke. Shiki's just all about getting his goals together and using the crew however he can. Number 4, I know we don't see him in this panel, but I'm going to assume that he eventually joins. And Kyo the Silver Axe. Since some of the pirates say that he's Shiki's rival, I'm going to assume that he's one of the more powerful members of the Rocks Pirates. Because we know how strong Shiki is. He can clash with Whitebeard. He's one of Gold Roger's eventual rivals. If Kyo is hanging with Shiki, he's definitely on the top tier of the Rocks Pirates. Next, I'm going to say it's Wang Ji, Ochoku, just for the simple fact that it took Blackbeard, Kobe, and Trafalgar Law to take him down to get control of Pirate Island. So if it took those hitters to take down Ochoku, yeah, he must be pretty stacked. Next, I'm going to say Captain John because we see him tell Kaido to chill out. And Kaido's not someone you really want to mess with, you know, if you're not about that life. So for him to be like, hey, new kid, you need to relax. I think he knows that if push came to shove, that he could take Kaido. Moving on, Charlotte Linlin. We know how stacked Big Mom is in the future. And even as a child, she was a beast. She took out Lord Ja Rule, so she must be one of the stronger Rocks pirates. After Linlin, I'm going to say Kaido. Kaido's Kaido. Like, he's the king of beasts. I mean, not currently, but we see in his flashback and how strong he is and how the Vodka Kingdom used him as a bargaining chip. After Kaido, I'm going to go with Don Marlin, Gonzui, Stussy, and Streusen. Now, we haven't seen enough of the Rocks pirates, you know, actually in combat for this to be like a concrete list, but this is just a gut feeling of how I think they would be ranked at this current point in time. But yeah, this was a great chapter. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It was awesome seeing Roger and Garp go at it and having their little Conqueror's Hockey clash. It was awesome seeing the Kuja pirates, and I really hope we get to see a little bit more of them, especially since the narrator tells us that they were an instrumental part of this era. So I'd like to see a little bit more of what they meant by that. And seeing the Rocks pirates in this last panel, it makes me want to make a video of the top 10 pirate crews I would not want to run into on the Grand Line, just for the simple fact that these guys look demonic. Like, you would be SOL if you ran into the Rocks pirates anywhere in your pirating career. So I think that's a video that's going to be coming up soon, so look out for that one. But yeah, this chapter is definitely a 9 out of 10. Oda, please, I am begging, show us God Valley from Rox's perspective. I need to see it, because after seeing Rox and his crew, it's getting harder and harder to believe that it only took Roger and Garp to take Rox down. Like, I don't see it. There has to be something else that went down to be able to take down Rocks. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. How would you scale the Rocks pirates from strongest to weakest? What are some things that you want to see in this Loki flashback? Yeah, let me know down below in the comments section. Like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching the video. This is Crownless D King. Stay safe, stay blessed. One love.